What's up, bodyweight warriors? Welcome back to another video, and today I've got a few exercises that I really like to sprinkle in to my training. They're all three great remedial exercises that can aid with both developing those straight arm strength skills for more the conditioning side of things. So that involves building up capacity in the shoulders and the elbows. There's also going to be a drill for developing and maintaining structural balance when we do a lot of this flexion and overhead pressing strength, and also developing strength through the full range of motion that the shoulder girdle has available to it. I do want to mention that although these drills are aimed to aid you with your calisthenics practice, developing skills like handstand, planche, front lever, etc., these will not get you said skills. It's important to do the thing that you want to get good at. That's the best way to make gains. But these drills, as I said, are nice to sprinkle in as kind of a remedial exercise at the end of the session and can help with some of those conditioning that we need to develop. So without further chat, let's jump straight into this one. We're going to kick things off today with the Zanetti Press, otherwise known as the Maltese Press. This one you may have seen before. It's kind of a common one in the calisthenics community. I remember the first time that I saw it was actually when I was training gymnastics at Loughborough University, kind of where I started getting into all of this. A lot of the gymnasts would do their rings routines. They'd then come down, they were doing, Maltese, or they're doing planche on the rings, and they'd finish their session with some of these Zanetti presses with some light dumbbells, higher rep stuff, working through that full range of motion, both extension and into flexion. And that's why I really like this drill. This drill is about building up capacity at a low intensity in this kind of planche pressing position. The reason this drill is a little bit unique is it allows us to take the bicep from this lengthened position, because it allows us to drop our arm into extension and then press up into this flexed actual planche position. We get to load it eccentrically and through a full range of motion. This is great for conditioning some of the structures. Specifically in the bicep, we're looking at the coracobrachialis and then also the bicep tendon. Both of these can often get overused in this movement of flexion, this lifting the arm in front. Say we're working on planche, press, etc. This is a really, really common overuse point for calisthenics, so building up some work capacity here can help. And then it also helps us to condition that straight arm position of the elbow itself, understanding how to contract both the bicep and the tricep at the same time to maintain that solid straight arm position, to take some load, and then we can just work reps through it, moving the arm through, as I said, extension and flexion. The key to this exercise is maintaining that active hollow body position. That means that mid and lower back should be the only point really connecting with the bench during this movement. We want to slightly bring the shoulders up. We want to reach the dumbbells away. We're trying to bring ourselves into some protraction, and we're also going to lift the legs up to bring some core engagement there. Now you can go straight legs, can go bent legs to make this a little bit easier. And again, when you press back up, try to feel the shoulder blades wrap and move back into that protracted planche position. Get ready for a pretty decent bicep and pec pump when you're doing this one. And again, I would probably do this for a little bit of the higher rep range, sort of think 10 to 20 reps really. Next up, we have kind of the opposite movement to the Zanetti press, and that would just be the shoulder extension lift. Now this drill is commonly done with a stick, and that's great, but the stick fixes the arms. When we have the dumbbells, we have to actively try to adduct the hands. We have to try to pull them together, and that can elicit a strong contraction here on that mid back, think the rhomboids. The reason I like this movement is that it's kind of the opposite to the Maltese press, but it's also the opposite to a lot of the things that we do in calisthenics, which is in front of the body. Think handstand push-up, think handstand. And I think this involves this like flexion of the arm. That's what we commonly do a lot of. So developing adequate strength in extension, whether that's through training dips or doing movements like this, can help balance out the shoulder girdle. This movement's going to primarily train the rear delt, but also like teres minor, teres major, the lats, and also the triceps to actively lift the arms up in this position. It will additionally provide an active stretch over the bicep as well and help to develop that shoulder extension flexibility. We want to bring tension over the midline of the body. We want to try and avoid bending and flexing of the hip to help compensate with this. We want to focus on it just coming from the shoulder. We're going to actively contract the tricep and the bicep, fix that straight arm position. Thumbs are facing outwards, palms are facing down, and then you're just going to try and lift the arms as high as you can behind you, but you're also going to try and pull them together behind you. This one doesn't need a whole lot of weight either. Much like the Zanetti press, I would recommend doing this one for higher reps, 10 to 20 reps, and hold for a second in that top position. Something to mention that affects both the Zanetti press and also the shoulder extension lift is the angle in which we are doing the lift. I would recommend starting with the Zanetti press and also this one doing this standing and lying down, but we can do this on various degrees of incline or decline because it allows us to train this movement where it's going to be hardest at different angles. And you can do this and you can think about this in terms of what's going to benefit you most for what you're trying to get out of it. The final exercise we have is basically if you were to combine both of these movements together, and that is the Zheopeng Rays. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. Li Zheopeng was a Chinese gymnast, and I think this movement is named after him. I'm pretty sure it is. Again, essentially a conditioning exercise that is a combination of both this full range of motion, flexion and extension, all kind of coupled into one. If anything, this looks slightly like the cars that you would see on like FRC with the shoulder. We're just going to grab a dumbbell and load it. This one for me isn't necessarily focused at all about developing strength for any particular skill, but it does help to improve this active shoulder flexibility in these straight arm planes. We're essentially going to be going through the range of motion that we were going through in the prior two exercises. So when you're lifting up, you're obviously moving the arms through flexion, training the bicep, the anterior delt, the shoulder flexors, and then when we go up into that top position, we're going to rotate internally. We're going to try and have the back of the hand facing up, palm facing down, and we're going to resist that movement into extension again, trying to pull the arm backwards to the side and developing the shoulder extensors on the back. The focus here is slightly different. We don't necessarily want a fixed torso. We can allow the torso to twist slightly if that makes this movement feel easier, but the focus should be kind of that we're going to be working on the end of our range of motion the entire time as we pull the hand back and over our head. This movement can be both performed forwards and backwards, depending on which aspect you want to be the lowering phase, whether that's the lowering under flexion or lowering under extension. Really, it makes no difference. You could do half the reps forward, half the reps backwards, whatever it is that you want to do. This is just kind of a nice one to both aid in shoulder flexibility and also conditioning of some of those tendons. I kind of like this one even as a warm-up with a very, very light weight at the start of a session, or as I said, as a cool down for some higher reps for some capacity building. But that's basically it. 3 dumbbell exercises that specifically are designed or looking at developing straight arm strength or range of motion in the shoulders for calisthenics. This is just kind of a random video that I thought would be a cool collection, something that I'm interested in and I do enjoy adding into programs here and there, but obviously only my opinion. If you have anything that you think should be added here, please leave it in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your opinion on this one. As always, if you just enjoyed this video, you can hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button if you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe and don't miss out on any more future videos. But other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a strong week and peace.